sit back, relax, and let me talk to you for a second, good people. Welcome back to the station. This is Destination Debbie. Y'all know who it is, man. I'm your boy, Ray G. You can find me on Twitter at RayGQ. I'm the captain of the all-gas arm of the squad, this here thing that we do. And this is my weekly top 10 observations, top 10 takeaways from the past weekend of college football. And before you hear this and think, oh my God, it's college football, listen. Everything that we do here integrates and marries beautifully with the fantasy football space. Every player that I'm talking about, every takeaway that you gather from this show, maybe besides a takeaway here or two every now and then, maybe it's just pure entertainment or enjoyment, or we saw a historic moment, is geared to help you be prepared, be more prepared, get ready for your rookie drafts, to be better in Dynasty, to see how this marriage of the college game, even if you're not a big college football fan, in the NFL world just works seamlessly together. And the more that you know about these college players, the more that you know about these upcoming classes, the better you can position your dynasty team for short and long-term success. That's why it's important to follow the college game. Even if you're not sitting down watching it every Saturday, that's why you stay locked in over here with Destination Debbie. That's why you follow people who monitor the college game and track it, because these are the players that you're going to end up drafting, whether you like the college game or not, here in the upcoming future. And just want to give a shout out to the show sponsors, FTN Fantasy, doing great stuff over there at ftnfantasy.com. Make sure you go over there, check out their tools, daily bets, all kinds of sports. And when you sign up, because I know you will, make sure you smash that promo code ALLGAS to save you a little something at the checkout. But the honorable mention takeaways that I want to talk about, one being Tank Bigsby, the running back, true freshman running back, dynamic true freshman running back from the University of Auburn. This past weekend, 26 carries, 190-plus rushing yards. Bigsby is that dude, you guys. I'm telling you. And I'm going to talk about the 2022 class here on the FutureCast show and in subsequent future episodes moving forward. But, man, this 2023 running back class is loaded, and Tank Bigsby is the cream of the crop. This kid is dynamic. He's going to push for 1,000 yards. He will be a true freshman All-American this season. He's doing this in the SEC as a true freshman, less than 100%. I haven't been this excited for a freshman running back in a long time. And Tank Bigsby is somebody that we're going to be talking about a ton going into next college football season, and then when he's actually eligible for the NFL draft in the 2022 college football season for the 2023 NFL draft class. But just watching him play, the one-cut ability, the speed, the power, the vision, he has it all. He's the complete package. So stay on the lookout for Tank Bigsby. Now, this next player that I want to talk about, I don't understand why it bothers people so much. Like, the negativity I've seen surrounding this football player really kind of just blows my mind a little bit. You know, sometimes, you know, we're here and we're around for historic moments, whether we like it or not. And what's going on at Vanderbilt right now with the kicker, Sarah Fuller, is a historic moment. And this past weekend, she became the first woman to score points in a Power 5 game. She kicked an extra point. And let me just tell you something. I played college football. I feel like I was pretty decent, right? I redshirted as a freshman, started as a redshirt freshman at defensive back, pretty athletic. There's no way, if my life depended on it, would I be able to drill an extra point in game with actual defenses running at me. It's just, I know it looks easy when we're sitting back on our couch watching it. How do you miss that? How do you make it? We see NFL players, NFL kickers miss extra points all the time. And I know that right now they move the field goal, the extra point line back, but we've seen them shank regular extra points. We've seen them miss things that they shouldn't all the damn time. And for her to go out there and make that happen in game, like it or not, if you believe it's a stunt, I don't care about any of that. Salute and hat tip to her, the player, for doing something that I guarantee 90% of you, 95% of you would not be able to do. Just nothing but respect and salute to Sarah Fuller. But let's jump into these top 10 takeaways. And at takeaway number 10, I want to talk about this running back from Virginia Tech, Khalil Herbert. A lot of people, a lot of buzz starting to generate around this player. Herbert, this is his 5th season, right? 5 years in college. Didn't do shit the first 4 years at Kansas. Transfers to Virginia Tech, and he's absolutely setting the ACC world on fire. 155 carries, over 1,180 yards. 8 TDs. He's got showing a little bit of speed, busting off his longest run of the season this past weekend versus Virginia for 76 yards. Herbert is a player, man, that, he's already accepted his invitation to the Senior Bowl, which is going to be good. We'll get to see him play against top competition in college. We know about all the top players, Najee Harris, Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne, names like that. But how you win in Dynasty is finding guys like a Khalil Herbert in your third and fourth round of your rookie drafts, finding these guys on the waiver wire, putting in a claim and acquiring these players who is probably going to be a later round draft pick, right? If I had to guess, 5th round pick, 6th round pick. If he plays well in training camp, he makes a roster, he's a backup, he's a third string guy. But hell, we're seeing players like Wayne Gallman thrive right now. DeAndre Washington is finding success. We're seeing the corpse of Le'Veon Bell out here doing work. So there's plenty of room for these running backs at the next level. And you're just looking for a guy with talent, and hopefully they get an opportunity. So while I'm not overly high on Herbert right now, he's somebody that could potentially rise here in the coming weeks, and a name that you all need to know about because he's a player who's performed very, very well this year, and I look forward to checking him out and seeing what he can do at the Reese's Senior Bowl this upcoming January, February time. Now, the next player that I want to discuss, this man has a badass mullet. If you don't know the name Grayson McCall, get familiar because McCall is nice, leading the undefeated Coastal Carolina team into action this past weekend. Man, this dude, 6'3", 200 pounds, 205 pounds. He has played really, really well this year. 70% completion percentage, over 2,100 passing yards, 23 TDs, only 2 interceptions. And then he does it with his legs as well. He's athletic, almost pushing 500 rushing yards, 6 TDs on damn near 100 attempts. This player right here, when you're talking about the 2022 class and you're looking at the quarterbacks, which it's shaping up to be an outstanding quarterback class with players like Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, Keaton Slovis, Jaden Daniels, Grayson McCall, Dylan Gabriel. I mean, the 2022 quarterback class is looking really, really good. And Grayson McCall definitely deserves more love, definitely deserves more hype, more buzz, because he's playing very, very well right now. So those of you who are unfamiliar with this name, just get a pen and pad out, write the name down. Grayson McCall, somebody that we're going to be talking about a ton next season as a potential Heisman candidate as well. Is probably a first-round pick in the NFL draft. And the way we see some of these quarterbacks playing right now, trust there will be spots available for some of these players. Grayson McCall, athletic, talented, accurate. Remember the name. He's a dope player. Now let's head to Georgia and talk about Zamir White, one of the highest-rated recruits coming out of high school a couple of years ago. Everybody, including myself, had super high expectations for Zamir White, and it just did not come to fruition early on. So he tore his ACL his final season in high school, gets to Georgia, expected to contribute as a true freshman, tears his ACL during the preseason, training camp. So his first real action was last year. And last year, he looked hesitant. He looked tentative. And they still had Brian Herring. They still had DeAndre Swift. So they did not have to utilize Zamir White a ton. 78 carries, 408 yards, 3 touchdowns, caught the ball a couple of times. But, left a lot of us feeling kind of like, maybe he's just not that dude. So he comes back this season, another year removed from his ACL, double ACL injuries, and he looks like a completely different player this season for Georgia. You see he's over 740 rushing yards, 10 TDs, showing some speed, had a long touchdown run a couple of weeks ago versus Florida. He looks like Zamir White. Now, maybe he's not his potential, what we thought he could be because of both the ACL injuries. But when I'm looking at my rankings for the 2021 class, it's hard for me not to have him as a top 5 running back. In fact, I did move him to RB5. He's a player that coming from Georgia, he's got the name cachet. He's got the Georgia Bulldog behind his name. And this is a weak running back class. So if I were in a position to acquire Zamir White, if he ends up on my team, I'm telling you, after a season or two, I'm going to move him because both of those ACL injuries, a UGA running back, we see Sony Michel with the knees, we see Nick Chubb with the knees, Todd Gurley with the knees. Let's make sure DeAndre Swift doesn't get any of that. But Zamir White, the double injuries do concern me, but his play over the season has instilled a little more confidence in what I think he could be at the next level. And, you're looking at a player that maybe a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, which is still fine draft capital for a running back. And I'm not all the way convinced that he's actually going to declare this year. I can see him coming back to prove it one more time to try to solidify himself as one of the top rushers in the 2022 class. But to see him drop 126-1 with a long of 43 against Missouri this weekend, had to give Zamir White some love, had to shout him out on the show. Next up, Kayshon Boutte from LSU, the true freshman wide receiver. Kayshon Boutte. Nice, man. Nice. LSU has got another one. LSU just continuing to pump out wide receivers left and right. This player, Boutte, was the number 1 wide receiver in the state of Louisiana coming out this past season. LSU's team is terrible, right? They pulled off the upset win versus Florida. I had Florida on the money line, and they couldn't get it done. I mean, come on, man. At home, you lose to this. Max Johnson looked really good, a hell of a lot better than TJ Finley. But Boutte, 31 receptions, 427 yards, 2 TDs. You can see it, right? When you watch him play, where's that number 1? He's got the swag, the explosiveness, the speed. I'm getting you guys ready. I'm getting you ready because this player is going to be a guy that we are going to be salivating over when his NFL draft time is on the way here in 2023. And we're going to talk a lot about him next season. Max Johnson looks like he may be the guy, and Boutte is going to be the lead dog for the LSU Tigers, the Bayou Bengals. Player is dynamic. He's explosive. In the history of LSU wide receivers, we can go down the list from even pre-OBJ, man. I'm talking Dwayne Bowe. We know OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Terrace Marshall. Boutte is up next. Talented freshman wide receiver. Now, in that same game, we had 2 players. It's crazy that I wrote in the show notes, Kyle Trask had an up and down game. When your up and down game consists of a 62% completion percentage for 474 yards and 2 touchdowns, that just shows the level that Kyle Trask has been playing on. He's been playing out of his mind. He's got 40 touchdown passes on this COVID-shortened season. I can't imagine what it would have been had they not missed a game or 2 and played an entire season and everything been status quo. But you see right here on the list, he's 3 behind, 2 of 4 behind Drew Lock, and nobody's catching Joe Burrow. 60 is just absolutely nuts. They did lose this game, and Kyle Trask, again, up and down game. One of the interceptions he threw was just bad. Another one was an amazing double alley-oop type interception where the LSU defender taps it back in. The other guy's barely in bounds. Kind of some fluky shit. So I'm not gonna overreact to this. He had 470 damn passing yards and 2 TDs. Kyle Trask he's gonna be a starting quarterback at some point in time. I don't think he has this elite ceiling. I don't, but he's going to run the offense. He's a game manager type player that can make some good throws, distribute the ball around, and he's had an outstanding season. One of the Heisman front runners this season. I think he may have lost that bid with the L versus LSU in this one, but Kyle Trask, I'm not going to overreact to this one bad in air quotes game for a player who threw for 470 damn yards. Now in the same game, a player that I've been talking about so much and one of my favorite prospects here in this upcoming 2021 NFL draft class is Kadarious Toney, the wide receiver, do-it-all playmaker from Florida. I tweeted this out the other night. I don't believe that I have seen a group of playmakers like what we have coming in 2021, like what we have now. I haven't seen this in a long time, and I'm talking about these undersized weapons. Rondell Moore, Kadarious Toney, Jalen Waddle, Jaden Darden from North Texas, and we've got other players who fit this mold of they're not big enough to be dominant alpha wide receivers, but you just get the ball in their hands, get them the ball in space, and they can make you pay in a major way. And this player, Kadarious Toney, man, he's been on a tear. 9 receptions, 182 yards, averaging 20 yards per catch. 3 rushes for 56 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, and he also returns punts, man. I mean, this is what you're looking for with these dynamic type playmakers, ways to get them the ball in space, get them on the field. Kadarious Toney, the more that his play continues to just be what it is right now, he's up to 62 grabs, 831 yards on the season, 17 carries, 146 yards, multiple kick return yards, 10 punt returns, a punt return for a touchdown. He's a player I think has sneaky first round draft capital appeal. He goes out to the combine. He performs well at the combine. He does his thing at the Reese's Senior Bowl. And Kadarious Toney is a player that I think, while we're talking about the Chases and the Moores and the Waddles and the Smitties, I think Kadarious Toney is a player who could definitely get first-round draft capital and go a hell of a lot higher than any of us thought he can go coming into this college football season. Now, another player who's going to go a hell of a lot higher than anybody. Now, I know this player has this cult following now, but don't get it twisted. Nobody was talking about him coming into 2019. Nobody. And I'm talking about gunslinger Zach Wilson from Brigham Young University. BYU's Zach Wilson. He's good, man. He's a very, very talented quarterback. And I don't care what conference you play in. I don't care about any of that shit. When you're completing damn near 75% of your passes, you're legit. And that's what he's doing. The leap from his injury-plagued 2019 season to what we're seeing here in 2020, you just don't see that. He goes from 62% completion percentage to, like I said, on the season he's at 73% completion percentage. 2,300 passing yards last year. He's at 3,200 right now. 11 TDs, 9 interceptions, 30 TDs, 3 interceptions. What he's doing, listen, if I had to, my quarterback 3 in the class is Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is a Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo plus type quarterback. He's going to come in, he's going to run your offense, he's going to push the ball downfield. He's not conservative, he's not going to make bad plays, not athletic. Like, he's going to be a good starting quarterback. When you're talking about ceiling plays, though, Zach Wilson has the higher ceiling. Trey Lance has the higher ceiling. Zach Wilson is a player, man, I just want him to get drafted to a team where he doesn't have to play year one. Let him chill, let him wait, let him learn, and then unleash him maybe towards the end of the season or maybe even the following NFL season. And I think you've got an absolute stud on your hands. He's got the arm talent. He's got enough arm strength to make all of the throws. It's just reps and experience, but the talent is there for this player. I literally, in my Devy rankings, I have him and Mac Jones one spot apart. I think Mac Jones is 13th and Zach Wilson is 14th, and that can easily shift with draft capital. I do believe that both of these players will be picked in the first round, and if I had to bet right now, I think Zach Wilson's going to be the third QB off of the board behind Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. This past weekend versus San Diego State, 303 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Did throw one of the, it's funny, right? Because you look at the box scores and it just looks like he just dominated them. He struggled early. They were trying to find their rhythm versus San Diego State. San Diego State kept it close, but he's just a really, really good quarterback. He's a good, talented quarterback. I like how he plays. He's more mobile than Trask and Mac Jones, not as athletic, not nearly as mobile as Trey Lance and what he's able to do. But Zach Wilson, my notes is he is very, very good. Now, a player who was very, very good last year and was not very, very good this season, Oklahoma State's Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard and Tylan Wallace both decided to opt out of the remaining games that the Oklahoma State Cowboys had to play this year. And let's start with Tylan Wallace. Tylan Wallace played 9 games last year, tore his ACL, came back, returned for his senior season, and now he's, of course, opted out. He's 6 foot, 190 pounds, and it's crazy because his stats are almost identical. Last year, 53 receptions, 903 yards, 8 TDs. This year, 53 receptions, 872 yards, and 6 TDs, both in 9 games. Tylan Wallace helped his draft stock. All he needed to do was come back, play, show that he was healthy, and he's going to be good to go. Chuba Hubbard, conversely, in my opinion, has hurt his draft stock. First team All-American last year was outstanding. In 13 games, 2,094 yards, averaging 6.4 yards an attempt, 21 TDs, 23 receptions, 198 yards, 2,200 yards from scrimmage. Absolutely dynamic. Every time he touched the ball, he was taking some shit to the crib, it felt like. This season in 7 games, 625 yards, Yards per carry dipped from 6.4 to 4.7, 5 TDs, 8 receptions, 52 yards, 1 TD. He wasn't healthy. He was banged up. It didn't look like he wanted to play. I know him and Mike Gundy got into a little tizzy before the season started, and he's hurt his draft stock. I think he was locked into being a second-round pick last year, and I think he's a third-round pick, and I don't see him falling into day 3 because he's going to run fast. I mean, he's a track guy. He was a national champion in high school in the 100-meter dash. Dude is going to run sub 4.4. I mean, in the NFL, they're suckers for speed. So I do believe he's still going to be a day 2 pick. You know, third round is what I would peg him at right now. I see him, reminds me of a Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert type. He's not really shifty. He's not powerful. He's got great speed. Just kind of one cut, get downhill. That's who Chuba Hubbard reminds me of, and I thought we would actually see a progression in this game this year, and it just hasn't happened. So it's just that was some news that popped off over this past week. Tylan Wallace, I think his draft stock actually increased a tad bit, or at least remained the same. Chuba Hubbard definitely hurt his draft stock coming back in to this college football season. Now, a player who is just, I'm so impressed and so happy for this kid. But the University of Georgia quarterback, JT Daniels, is back, and he looks legit. And when I was talking about that 2022 quarterback class a little while ago with Slovis and Howell and Spencer Rattler and Dylan Gabriel, JT Daniels is right there. And, I mean, technically, he's eligible for the 2021 NFL draft, but I just don't see him one season removed from a devastating knee injury. And I've got Keaton Slovis as my number 1, number 2 guy in the 2022 quarterback class. The only reason Slovis got an opportunity to play is because JT Daniel, he was the starter for USC, tore his knee up, which gave way for Slovis to come in and do his thing. But let me just read what JT has done over the past 3 weeks. Over the past 3 games for the University of Georgia. Has not been 3 consecutive weeks, but 401 yards versus Mississippi State, 4 TDs, no interceptions, versus South Carolina, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, and this past weekend versus Missouri, 299 yards and 3 TDs. JT Daniels was the number 1 quarterback in his recruiting class a couple of years ago, so the talent is there. The size is there at 6'3", over 200 pounds. You know, the big takeaway, folks, the big takeaway in all of this is these fringy-ass NFL starters better get their shit together, because there's some players coming in the next couple of classes who are going to be drafted and going to put pressure to some of these quarterbacks who are underperforming. We look at, Denver with Drew Lock. We're looking at some of these other teams, man. These young kids are coming, and these dudes are quarterback technicians. JT Daniels has definitely helped himself out. Excited to see him continue to develop and play well. Very, very good player for the University of Georgia. Now, let's talk about Smitty here. Smitty, Devonta Smith, wide receiver from Alabama, the soon-to-be named Biletnikoff Award winner for the top wide receiver in college football. Alabama's going to have Jerry Jeudy has one, and then a year off, Jamar Chase got it. Now, Devonta Smith is a shoe-in for the award. The only other player that I think would even get consideration is Elijah Moore from Ole Miss, but it's Smitty's award. Like, he cannot catch another pass for the rest of the season, and he's going to win the Biletnikoff. I think he's leapfrogged to be the Heisman favorite. I know a lot of people talk Kyle Trask, Mac Jones. I believe it's Devonta Smith. The wide receiver hasn't won the Heisman Trophy, and I don't know how long. In my mind, I'm trying to think. Peter Warrick maybe was the last wide receiver. I can't even legitimately. I believe it was Peter Warrick. I'm not looking it up. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But Devonta Smith only had 3 catches for 22 yards, but he still somehow seemed to impress us with a long punt return for a touchdown, showing his versatility. He's a smooth glider, man. His speed doesn't look like Tyreek Hill. His feet aren't fast and choppy. He's just a long strider, and he's going to run fast. His versatility is on full display. He's a great wide receiver. He is my wide receiver 1 in the 2021 class. He's made himself a ton of money, and just to see him be able to show and showcase other skills that he has, returning the ball in punt return situations. He's aggressive in the blocking scheme. I think Devonta Smith locked up the Heisman Trophy, and with a strong performance versus Florida in the SEC title game, he can go ahead and write his name on that bad boy. If he performs versus Florida in the SEC title game, it's a wrap. Devonta Smith will be the Heisman, and he's going to have a very, very, very good chance of being the first wide receiver taken in the draft. And for those of you who keep talking about Ja'Marr Chase, y'all need to come rock with me, man. Patreon.com/allgas. We just did a film breakdown of Ja'Marr Chase. We went through 5 of his games, all 22 film, what he did well, what he doesn't do well. I mean, he's my wide receiver too. He's legit. He's not a better wide receiver than Devonta Smith. He's not. He's super talented. He's going to be a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. He's not a better wide receiver than Devonta Smith. Come holler at me. Come talk to the squad. I'm telling y'all, man. This is not hard. Both are studs. Devonta Smith is a better wide receiver than Ja'Marr Chase. And the absolute biggest takeaway from this weekend, which has huge ramifications for the 2021 NFL Draft and what we do in Dynasty, was right here. North Carolina versus Miami, the afternoon game on ABC. We saw something that had never been done in college football history. 544 combined rushing yards, 308 from Michael Carter, 236 from Javonte Williams. Just dominant. And Javonte Williams had one of the filthiest runs I've seen in a very long time, where he's breaking arm tackles, juking out defenders, running people over, taking their soul. If you haven't seen it, go check my timeline on Twitter at RayGQ. Just look up Javonte Williams, and I'm sure you will see it. He's a beast, 5'11", 220 plus pounds. He just looks like outside of Najee Harris, he looks like the most complete running back in the 2021 class. I still have Travis Etienne a tick above him. I can't knock Etienne down. I want to see how he finishes the season. Been really impressed with Etienne's ability in the receiving game to really improve that area. He's got 41 receptions on the season. But Javonte Williams profiles as the better 3-down back. This player is outstanding. Again, all I need to see is how big his damn neck is. His neck is wider than his face. That's all I need to know. Big neck, good football player. Simple as that. Easy analysis, baby. But Michael Carter, man, he's arguably the star of the show every week. He's a talented running back himself, 5'8", 200 pounds. He's explosive. He can catch the ball. They've got 2 running backs over 1,000 yards on the season. I mean, it makes Sam Howell's job very easy when you have 2 dynamic running backs like this. And I have moved Michael Carter into, I believe he's number 8, RB8 for me in the 2021 NFL Draft class. He's right behind Chuba Hubbard, or he may be a spot above Chuba Hubbard. I need to go look at my rankings, but he's not getting enough credit for how good he is. And he reminds me of a satellite plus type back. He doesn't profile as a true 3-down bell cow for me at the next level, but he could be a very, very good fantasy asset, even if he's not commanding the same opportunity and volume as Javonte Williams will at the next level, because of the size, because of the girth, the bulk, the ability to handle that pounding in between the tackles. Michael Carter's super talented, man. He's a player that needs to be on the radars of every single Dynasty owner, every single Dynasty manager playing this game, fantasy football. North Carolina has a pair of studs. We're probably going to both be day 2 picks in the NFL Draft. Well, there it is, baby. My top 10 takeaways from this past weekend of college football. Appreciate you rocking by. If you like the content that we're laying down here at Destination Debbie, subscribe, baby. Smash that subscribe button. Lock into the podcast. Stay locked into the channel. And if you want more, playoff time. You're probably eliminated. Time to look forward to next year. Patreon.com/allgas. Come join the best damn Debbie Dynasty community in the face of the planet. Get you ready for your rookie drafts. Help you strategically place your team and position your team for short and long-term success. I got y'all locked. Shout out to FTN. Shout out to Blue Wire. Shout out to all the good people who make this thing possible. But that's it, man. I'm rambling. I'm out of this thing. Peace.